Hello, you're listening to Oh Brother News. I'm Gabe.
I'm James, and we are brothers.
Yes, we are. This week we have so much to talk about. As Tim Miller put it, it is Executive Bukkake.
Executive Order Bukkake,
Executive Order Bukkake. Yes, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Um,
defacing the Constitution.
yeah, indeed. So, a brief overview of what we're going to talk about today. New health policies, pardons, revoking Secret Service protections, taking down .gov websites, the Doge uh, borrowing people from government agencies, Elon's Nazi salute, border and immigration stuff, the Gulf of America, the Trump meme coin. I don't know why I said it that way. And 100K watches, birthright citizenship, massive loophole, and we're all women. You want to start with we're all women?
Yes, because I think we should all. I don't know if you can hear this on the radio when I play it, but uh, did that record by the way?
I didn't hear anything.
Noise canceling. Let's play the little intro to Shania Twain. Man, I feel like a woman. Because based on the new executive order, we are all women. So yeah. New executive order. I don't have the exact text. I should probably have pulled that up beforehand. But they define man and woman based on what the gender is at the time of conception. And for anybody who knows biology, reproductive biology especially, everything starts as a woman. Everything starts as a female. Male genitalia does not grow for weeks after conception, if it ever does. It either does or it doesn't. But at conception, we are all women. So, we are all women. Everybody's a woman now. So, I don't care what they say about Section F about gender ideology because everybody is a woman. Everybody's a woman now, according to Donald Trump. We're all women. So,
It's just so hilarious that
you go, girls.
that right after they passed the no trans athletes law, they immediately made all of the men trans athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, Section D and Section E. Female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. Male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell at conception. And no such thing. We're all women. Anyway. Yes, these people are dumb. They have no sense. I'm really hoping that some trans women go to compete against some, well, women, I guess, whatever you want to call it, and invoke Trump's executive order that says at conception I was a woman, so therefore I am a woman, and I hope that all the trans women go get their try to petition to have their birth certificates changed based on that executive order. That's all.
That would be great.
Legally,
Okay.
I don't know, man. I imagine that one would probably pass muster with the Supreme Court, though. So there's a lot of things that they've done that will, and some things that won't. Even with the 6-3 Supreme Court, won't stand. But that one might. Who knows? It's worded really badly, though. That was that one.
I'll talk
What was the
about
next one?
healthcare. So, a couple
Yeah,
things
general
with
health.
healthcare. One, he repealed some Biden directives that made it easier to enroll in Medicaid and get insurance under the Affordable Care Act. However, it does not actually repeal the $35 a month cap on insulin or Medicare's $2,000 annual out-of-pocket cap on prescription drugs, or Medicare's ability to negotiate drug pricing, because those are enforced by federal statutes passed by Congress. Slightly better than I thought. We did, however, withdraw from the World Health Organization, so now it's just us and Liechtenstein, who aren't part of the World Health Organization. I'm sure that'll go great. And then there's a gag order on all federal health agencies. They can't tweet or provide any information. They can't do talks or publish papers. Uh, they can no press releases, no interviews, like literally no information. Anything that they do want to say or release has to go through a presidential appointee. I don't even know if that person's been appointed yet. Um, I'm sure that won't slow things down. And I'm sure it won't matter. This H5N1 bird flu with like a super high mortality rate that just
Yeah,
killed somebody in
it's actually not as bad
Louisiana.
as it's not as bad as COVID. Most people have some level of immunity to it, though. It's
No, no,
actually
no. So there's
triple
two
in
there's
China,
two
right?
types. So well, it's here in America. It's in America and Canada. There was one person who died in Vancouver, and there was
Oh,
one person who died in Louisiana.
oh, great.
And so the normal way that, like the most likely way that people are getting this is that a bird infected a cow, and then the people got it from a cow. Uh,
Hmm.
but the other way you can get it is if you get it directly from a bird. And if you get it from directly from a bird, it has a 53% mortality rate.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah, basically like your immune system goes crazy and like destroys your lungs, something like that.
Wow.
So it's real bad. Um, but it's not human to human transmissible yet. But
Hmm.
every infection uh, gives it the chance to mutate. So
Well,
avoid
I'm
the
sure
sick
the Trump
birds.
administration. I'm sure the Trump administration, if faced with a really high mortality pandemic with a high mortality rate, I am sure that they would do the right thing. I don't think we have any evidence to suggest that Trump would be bad with a pandemic.
They'll use the Comstock Act to get us all producing massive amounts of bleach and needles to inject it into
No.
our veins to clean us
Yeah.
out.
Now, there's actually one thing I've forgotten. Maybe I should mention this before we started. But there's one thing that was not on the agenda that is probably in my mind the biggest deal of all of the executive orders. The thing that got so little attention last time around or before the election, and it's probably the biggest threat to democracy and our government as a whole, which was one of the other executive orders, which is a reinstated Schedule F. It's the one that says every federal employee is no longer a federal employee, just like a normal everyday American working at the job, Nope. They are all political appointees. So every single person with a job that's in any way, a federal government job, they all serve at the whim of Donald Trump. So he could just up and fire everybody at the IRS, every little person, and replace them all with his criminal friends. He could get rid of every single person who's with the EPA and just replace them all with Exxon employees. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Every federal employee, by the stroke of a pen, has been labeled a political appointee that can be fired like that.
What's the name of the Republican handbook for blah blah blah
Project
that we're
25.
totally not doing? Project 2025.
They said they were doing it as soon as he won the election. Like within 24 hours, they said, "I think it's okay to say that we're actually doing it." I mean, it was Project
Yeah.
2025, man. Y'all had plenty of time to read it, but no one did. But yeah, it's here. That was Schedule F, so it's back now. They're suing, of course. All the government unions and other people are suing. But yeah, it's kind of like a throwback to the pre-Jefferson days when they just had, "Oh, to the victor go the spoils," and they get to put all their friends and buddies and everything. But back then, the government was a lot smaller than it is now. It oversaw less people, less functions. It's much bigger now. Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, it's a lot of like really important stuff too. Like the people who are going to say, who are going to set the guidelines for, you know, railways, bridges, roads, on ramps. Like these are the guys who are saying this is the way you have to build an on ramp, and this is the length that it has to be, and the angle that it has to be at, or the ranges of angles that it has to fall within. Like really important stuff that like
There's so many things that people don't know. Yeah.
yeah, enables like the day-to-day like little minutia um that you start changing that stuff and cutting corners with that or taking out the experts who are, setting the standards, then suddenly your roads and your bridges and your trains start crashing. And LA is already having their third fire this year, so I don't think we have any more destruction budget left.
Well, hey, well, if nothing else, I mean, I think that the thing about the people getting hired is a good segue into Elon Musk and his general corruption. I mean, you can talk about the Sig Heil or whatever if you want first, but
Like,
corruption's front and center in the new administration already.
yeah, okay, so let me see if I'll start off for both of these. So, Elon at, at like Trump's inauguration,
Everybody's seen the picture.
post inauguration thing, like, I saw the picture, okay? Like, my wife showed me the picture, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, like,
That could be a bad
that's
thing.
nothing. Like I'm like, oh come on, like he
He
was
did
doing
it
a
twice.
thing,
You watch it.
everybody's got a picture where they look like they're doing a Nazi salute if you freeze frame it and you get the angle just wrong. Uh, and then she like clicks on it and shows me a video, and I'm like,
He did it
oh
twice.
shit. I'm like, oh shit. Well, that looks bad. And then I'm just like, I don't believe it. I'm like, okay, well, no, like, come on. Like, what was the rest of the context? Like, is that AI? Well, hold up, what's happening here? And then she Googles it, and it's like CNN, Reuters, AP News, and I'm just like, oh my god. And so he did a Nazi salute, not once but twice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was kind of a weird Nazi salute, but he's a weird dude.
Yep.
It was like once to the crowd, once to the flag. I guess at least he didn't do one to one to Trump, so that was. But he's been platforming, and like agreeing with uh, neo Nazis on Twitter.
Well, the first thing he did is bring them all back. All the people who were blocked, like that, the neo-Nazi groups and everything else. One of the first things he did was bring them all black, back.
They would not like to be brought black.
uh,
um, but yeah, and then people are saying it's like a Roman salute, and the Roman salute thing is completely bullshit. So like,
the
there is
Nazis
no
borrowed
such
it from
thing.
it. Well,
There's no such thing as a Roman salute. What the idea of it being from a Roman salute? I'm so glad I saw like a video about this. This comes from uh, a, a painting commissioned by a French king, I think Louis the something. I don't remember which Louis, but it's one of the Louis. Um, and basically, the people were getting pissed and doing an uprising, and he wanted to promote like civil responsibility and like joining the army. So he like had this painting commissioned of like three brothers, and they're holding out their hands for their father to hand them uh, their swords so they can go join the army and defend Rome, presumably. And it kind of like they're reaching forward. It kind of looks like a Nazi salute. It's not as up as they are,
yeah,
but it's kind of, yeah. It's like that, right? But
Elon's
like
was
yeah,
up.
but like this is not like a thing that actually happened in Rome. This is like a propaganda piece from France when the
Yeah.
people were getting uppity, and the aristocracy was displeased.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, so
far
yeah,
right
you can
people
talk
love it.
talk about
Yeah.
the corruption.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's kind of funny, as they're blocking federal agencies, they're blocking all these other things, all the hires and stuff like that. And they said they're going to cut that spending. Well, he also moved to make the Department of Government Efficiency like an official White House thing, right? Official executive branch department, which means just like Hillary Clinton learned, any emails, anything like that, if it's federal government, it's got to be on government servers. If you do stuff on your own servers, that'll get you, that'll get the Russians invited to find your emails, right? So But that's not the way they're running it. They're not running it like a government site. Now, Twitter gave the Department of Government Efficiency Twitter account, X account, whatever you want to call it, right, a gray check mark. Gray check marks only go to government agencies, right? So it's a government agency. How might you how might you go about applying to work with the Department of Government Efficiency? Well, you have to subscribe to Twitter and pay Elon Musk to get the verified blue check mark, and then you can apply to the Department of Government Efficiency from Twitter. You don't even have a real application process that goes to the government. All the emails, any communications are going through Twitter. So,
I mean, also, didn't they say like it's going to be like 100 hours a week and like it's
he
going to be
said for people,
unpaid?
they didn't say anything about it being unpaid. They said for people who work 80 hours, it's a tweet. It's not a policy. It's a tweet saying, well, if you're willing to put in 80 hours plus a week for that unglorified job of cutting government waste.
For the unglorified, I mean, it's like if you have the money to survive not being paid, and
you don't know if they're not being paid.
you own enough capital as businesses or buildings, so that by changing the government policies you can line your own pockets, then have we
Man,
got
they're
a
doing a
job for
lot of
you.
lining their own pockets too, man. God.
So,
So there's so much to talk about. We don't have nearly enough time to talk about all this stuff.
but like Elon,
Yeah.
between Tesla and SpaceX, he is the largest recipient of
Government
government
money.
money.
Yeah, corporate welfare.
He's the biggest government contractor.
Yep. And yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to be running Doge, which is going to be looking at budgeting, which is going to look at contracts that are going to go to any of the other electric car companies, any of the other AI companies, any of the other self-driving car companies, satellite internet companies. Like, he's in
Rural
so many
broadband.
things,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
other space companies. So
Think about
like,
the grants for rural broadband. I live in a little town called Caltz, Indiana, right? And we got some nice fiber internet out here. Don't think we would have had good fiber internet out here because of such a big population, such a big demand for it. Biden has been pushing for a while for rural broadband and everything else, and grants and subsidies and things to get the stuff built. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk steers the government into having everybody pay him for Starlink.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Oh man. But hey, on the bright side, it's gonna be tough on crime, right? Trump wants to be really tough on crime, right? Back in the blue, right? Let's stop all the crime. Let's stop all this invasion, right, of illegal immigrants. So what's
Back in the blue with a
back in the
knife in the
blue?
back.
So the first thing, yeah, everybody, if you were in Washington D.C. January 6th and you committed crimes, it doesn't really matter what the crimes were. You could have gouged out the eyes of a cop. You know what? You got yourself a pardon.
Like, there was a guy, so literally, like, one of the guys
Yeah.
was tasing a cop
Yeah.
multiple times in the
Oh yeah.
neck,
Oh yeah.
and he got off. There were
The
guys
guys who
who,
literally gouged out the eyes. They literally pulled the eyeballs out of the cops. They got pardoned. Yeah.
it's like the head of the Proud Boys, the head of the Oath Keepers.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's over the top, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, it's absolutely insane. Like, these are guys who were convicted
But they're
of
his people.
seditious conspiracies. Some of them
Patriotism.
by Trump-appointed judges. And the reason that they're getting off is because he wants to make it clear that, like,
If you're going to be a
the
mob for
rule
him,
of law doesn't apply if you're
for him.
breaking the law to help the leader. And this is so similar uh, to what
Brown
Hitler
shirts.
did.
Brown shirts.
No,
Yeah.
to Hitler, because like
Yeah.
Hitler got in and he
Brown shirts were.
uh, what was it, like the brown shirts or
That's what I
something?
said. Yeah.
Oh, you said the brown. Okay, I just didn't hear you.
Yeah.
I thought you said Richardson. I don't know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You start off with the mob, you get your mob. Hey. And yeah, so if anybody thinks that, I don't know, I think it goes without saying, man. I mean, just whatever. I think it's a nice segue into the other stuff he did, though. So if you're with them, you can break the law, you can attack cops, you can kill a cop, you can gouge out their eyes, whatever, it doesn't matter. You get a pardon, you're with him, you're okay. On the flip side, if you were with Trump, let's say you're John Bolton or Mike Pompeo, and you were with Trump and you assassinated, Iranian generals, because Trump wanted to do it, and you did so, and you made it happen. And the Secret Service since then has been saying, "Whoa, there's a huge target," and they've been, you know, finding, assassination attempts on these people. Well, they spoke bad about Trump since they left office, so he revoked their Secret Service protection. Now,
Who specifically? Is that Milley you're talking about?
John Bolton, and Mike Pompeo. Yeah,
Bolton and Pompeo.
both of them. Yeah, both of them. Because technically, under the Constitution, only former presidents are automatically afforded Secret Service protection. But there's a lot of former government people, secretaries of state, former secretaries of state, former secretaries of defense, high profile people, who when they retire, if they got big targets on their back, and government's aware that there's assassination attempts and plots against their lives for things, they can give them protections. And Biden gave Mike Pompeo and John Bolton Secret Service protection because there was active assassination plots against them. They intercepted and stopped. And during the transition, they also briefed the Trump people about this because they all knew, they were directly told that, hey, these other people have Secret Service details because of all these ongoing assassination attempts against their lives. But Trump doesn't like them, and in the same spirit that he pardoned all the people who committed crimes on his behalf, the people who were getting some protection, he at the exact same time told them, no, you're on your own. So good luck. Don't get assassinated, and he revoked their Secret Service protection. So wouldn't be surprised if they get assassinated pretty soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's fun times.
No, keep going.
Oh, so anyway, that was I was just reading about that a little bit. Why we're on crime and law and order. They want to do a lot of stuff on. It ties into immigration, but whatever. They want to. He's invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The famous laws that had the military go on domestic soil to do things like kick Indians off of their land and things like that. Well, he's reinvoking that, presumably for the border, because they need to have bases and military personnel because they're he's some of the other executive orders. He's ending the process of asylum. They are People now coming to the border to request asylum are no longer allowed to do so. They are no longer allowed to see a judge. They have to be immediately detained and or deported right back immediately. There is no due process. There is no judges. There's nothing like that. They're not allowed to have any of that stuff. And so they're bringing the military so they can use military bases and personnel to try to stop that. In addition to that, he's ordered to stop all federal assistance to sanctuary cities, right? If you're Chicago, New York, whatever these quote sanctuary cities that for migrants, they want to cut off all the federal resources and make the cities play ball, which means have the cops at the local city, local jurisdictions play ball with them and turn over people, go do immigration, roundups and everything else, and do stuff like that, and share information, everything with the federal government with them, and at least they have one friend in New York City. Yes, Eric Adams, because Joe Biden, their Justice Department, not Joe Biden, but his Justice Department, after investigating him, he got indicted, bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy, soliciting campaign contributions from foreign nationals, real stand-up guy. He got indicted by the Justice Department, but it hasn't gone anywhere yet. As we know with Trump, Justice Department takes its time for things, and so I'm sure Eric Adams is making a deal with Trump and them to probably drop these charges And in exchange, looks like Eric Adams is just going to turn over, and he said he'll do everything Trump wants. He's fully on board with this, So New York is been ghost town. Some of the real migrant, like heavy Hispanic population places, look like ghost towns right now. Same thing in Chicago. Everybody's worried about getting raided and stuff.
Yeah, there was a Instagram post going around a couple days ago about cops asking for IDs at the Lake and Clark CTA stop.
Yeah.
Just warning people. So, but that's not all. So he also designated an invasion across the southern border, um, which triggers certain executive branch powers.
Mm-hmm.
And he says his cabinet, quote, shall take appropriate action to repel, repatriate, or remove any alien engaged in the invasion.
Yeah, which also means killing. You could kill people. You could shoot them.
But,
That's appropriate action. If you're being invaded, you would be authorized. The military would be authorized to kill them.
but that's also how you get the U.S. military to act
Mm-hmm.
as immigration and border enforcement officers. Yeah. So it's the military. It's also the National Guard, ground, air transport vehicles, other logistics. They're using the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which has
Mm-hmm.
historically limited the use of military personnel in domestic law enforcement actions, um, because he's framing it as the migrant flow as a national security threat. He's arguing that it justifies the military orders anyway. They're also stopping refugee arrivals.
Mm-hmm.
They've redefined birthright citizenship, which is guaranteed in the 14th Amendment.
Luckily, already stopped by the federal
So, but
judge.
this one's a real like facepalm moment because, um, so the 14th Amendment, um, it does have an exception. It basically says if you're not under the jurisdiction of the United States, then even if you're born here, you can't get birthright citizenship. And that's in place because if, say, you're a diplomat from an enemy country like
Or any
Russia
country.
or China or any country, yeah, like the diplomats' children don't become American citizens because they're not under the jurisdiction of the United States. But in doing this, it basically says, and this is what's being argued, is that um, all non-citizens in America are no longer under the jurisdiction of the United States, which means they can't be charged with any crimes. Like all immigrants would have diplomatic immunity. So in addition to like making all of us girls, he's made all of the immigrants unprosecutable by trying to get rid of birthright citizenship, which is it's just so stupid.
Mm-hmm. It's stupid. It's on its face.
It's
It's
malicious
unconstitutional.
also.
And if I wish I had the exact text. I was looking at it earlier. I was staring at it earlier. It seems to be that if a
Also,
woman,
all of his children were born to uh, immigrant mothers.
yeah, but and that's the funny thing too. On there, as I was reading the order, the father, if the father is a citizen, it's okay. All right. It's weird though. The way it was written, it singled out like the woman. If the woman is uh, temporary status or whatever, basically it doesn't say permanent resident. It says if the father is not a permanent resident or a citizen. It was. I remember looking at
Yeah,
the wording.
if
It
the
really looked like
mother does not have legal immigration status or is in the country legally but only temporarily, and condition
mm-hmm.
two, the father is not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. The
So if you
order
get
forbids U.S. agencies from issuing any document recognizing them as a citizen.
so she's a lawful permanent resident. Lawful permanent resident is not mentioned on her. So let's say there's somebody who's a lawful permanent resident. They came here when they were 3 years old and got the lawful permanent resident. Permanent residents are here for life. I mean, they're
Well,
here.
lawful
You know
permanent resident is a legal immigration status,
exactly.
no?
Yeah, but it's why is it defined for the husband for the father but not for the mother?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird thing.
You see what I'm saying? They would argue
Yeah,
that that's not permanent. That's temporary because you have to renew it every 10 years.
Like, are they shooting themselves in the foot by like trying to make it sexist? Also,
I think they are because I mean, a permanent resident is permanent resident, but you still have to renew every 10 years. If you don't
look,
renew
man,
it, then you're here.
it's
You would be illegally.
it's hard to juggle
Yeah,
xenophobia,
sexism. Yeah,
racism and sexism at the same time
they do it
while
pretty
like
great.
writing two sentence laws. Like
Yeah,
that's a rough one, Like
yeah,
should have used a third sentence maybe. I don't know.
yeah. It's bad, but
But
either
yeah,
way,
they ACLU's all over that one.
yeah, that one got stopped immediately. And like Brian Tyler Cohen and Mark Elias had a good talk about that one. And even Mark Elias, who's like, "Look, I'm no fan of the Supreme Court," and yeah, they reached as far as they could for Trump in a lot of these cases, but he's like, even this 6-3 Supreme Court is not going to uphold this. This is dead, 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 dead. That's not going to happen. So I'm pretty sure that one's dead. It's yeah, that's not going anywhere.
They're also requiring the collection of DNA samples and fingerprints from immigration detainees. That is under a 2005 law, so that's a
That's
Obama law.
no, Bush,
Bush?
Bush, 2005.
Oh, Obama's. Oh wait, yeah, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah,
They forbid catch and release.
yeah.
Uh,
Go
they've
straight to a
directed
camp. You go straight to a camp or away, back over the border,
back over
or
the
just
border.
disappear them. That's what's probably going to end up happening with this administration. They'll probably just disappear all these people. Oh, also the kids, man, the 1,000 remaining kids who were kidnapped from their parents under the first Trump term, where they got the people who didn't speak English, just made them sign papers, and then they deported the parents and kept the kids, and then let the kids get turned into foster families and everything else, and lost their parents because they didn't keep any records. Well, Biden had a task force to try to reunite the kids with their parents that Trump sent away and kept their kids. That was also one of the very, very first ones. He got rid of that task force. So we are keeping those 1,000 kids that we stole from their parents. There you go.
But
That's what,
why? Like, if we want
just
all
to
the
be mean.
immigrants to
It's to
go,
be
why are
mean.
we? Why are we?
Because the whole family separation thing was just to be mean. And he wants to send a message that, hey, you come over here with your kids, you'll just lose your kid.
I mean, on the one hand, right? That sounds like a deterrent, and I bet for some people that actually is a deterrent. But for other people, they're probably thinking like,
You'll be better off in America.
yeah, these kids
I
will be
know.
better off in America.
Yeah. And besides, Republicans don't give a shit about taking care of people's kids. I mean, shit, they want to get rid of abortion, but they don't want to do shit for the people who are having kids. So I mean, it still tracks. You know,
Yeah,
once a kid's born, they don't give a shit about them
unless
until
it's a
they can be a
woman.
soldier or rich.
Unless it's a woman, and
They,
then she doesn't have reproductive rights right off the bat.
yeah. Um,
They ended the so-called quote parole programs, which were often referred to as family reunification, which allowed family members of certain citizens and permanent resident immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to come to the U.S. while their visa applications were still pending.
have they gotten rid of the temporary status yet?
They
No.
required a review. That's actually the next thing. Is they required a review of all cases for all immigrants now in the U.S. under temporary protected status, with the stated intent of ensuring that such designations are appropriately limited in scope
Mm,
and last the minimum amount of time necessary to fulfill the textual requirement of federal law.
that's better than I thought it was going to be right off the bat.
And
Doesn't mean it's
I
not
really
horrible.
wonder what that is going to mean. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if they're going to apply these immigration laws like evenly across people from different countries,
Of course
or if
not.
it's going to be like
No, they
people
didn't do it
from
last time.
South America, are going to
They didn't,
be
they didn't do that
like
last time. They
the
didn't do
top
that
of the
last time.
list.
No, remember
How
last
did
year?
they do it last time?
Last time they said, "Hey, there's a Muslim ban. Muslims not allowed to come here," and the court said, "Fuck you, man! You can't do that. You can't just say a Muslim ban. Jesus Christ, man! Freedom of religion." And then they said, "Fine, we'll just ban everybody from Libya, Algeria, da da da," and just rattled off all the Muslim countries. Except for the ones that were giving Trump and his family a lot of money, like Saudi Arabia. So except for those ones, everybody else was banned. And then the Supreme Court said, "Well, those places are deemed to be, unsafe, whatever places. So it's okay. It's okay. Same thing with this. I mean, he'll if he wants to block everybody in South America, and then some big, drug cartel wants to give Trump buy up a whole bunch of Trump meme coins to jack up the price, of the meme coin and make Trump richer, I'm sure that country would not be on the list.
Okay, so that's a really interesting thing because the one thing that he did that I like is that he designated the drug cartels as terrorist organizations.
Yeah, so what? I mean, he also designates Antifa as a fucking terrorist organization.
Well,
Who's the drug cartel?
that's true.
Who is the drug cartel? You can say drug cartels are terrorists.
No,
Okay,
I mean
now
we
you're being
know
more
we
specific.
know who the drug cartels are. I think that that
No, people
gives.
know who they are, but you'd have to designate it. Just saying a drug cartel is a terrorist organization. Well, let's say you are a drug cartel. Okay, you have to be labeled officially by the government as a cartel to be that. Just because you're a group of people with guns and drugs, who's to say you are a drug cartel? And you're not just a group of biker enthusiasts.
Oh wait, so it wasn't all the cartels actually. It was just the Mexican ones.
Oh, there you go.
So
See?
not the Colombian ones, for example. Colombian drug cartels, not terrorists.
There you go. See? There's always a catch with Trump, man, and his people.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it
the
could
Trump
lead
meme
to
coin.
penalties, fines, asset seizures, criminal charges on companies and individuals found to be paying ransom or extortion payments. U.S. companies could be ensnared by standard payments made to Mexican companies that a cartel controls without the American company's knowledge. Some extortion payments, even if made under duress, could be considered material support to cartels. Um,
Yeah.
Former U.S. officials and analysts point out that it would be nearly impossible to identify which businesses
Or cartels.
may employ or be affiliated with cartel members,
There
given
you
the
go. That's what I was
tens of
saying. Just,
thousands of
just saying.
people
It's like,
involved and operating in various industries, including the hotel and agriculture sectors.
there you go.
Cartels use the legal economy to launder money, which could mean
Mm-hmm.
that unwitting employees working at a resort or an avocado packing company could technically be on the cartel payroll, but not know
Mar-a-Lago.
it.
I mean, he's a fucking cartel leader anyway, so.
Banks can turn people away because they may not think they're worth the risk if they have links to Mexico. This just seems like a way to punish everyone from Mexico and kind of like just treat them like
Well, yeah,
terrorists.
it's an invasion from Mexico. And they have a woman president now? Two strikes against them, man. And a woman president who won't back down and laughs at him trying to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Gulf of
That's just
America, folks.
that's just on that's like that's like with Elon's Nazi salute. Like that's the distraction from all the like the real stuff that they're doing. Yeah, so they're reverting, excuse me, to vetting and screening standards used by Trump's first term. They're repealing a Biden order requiring planning for the effects of climate change on world migration patterns. So we're just going to not plan for that, I guess. Direct the Secretary of State and U.S. diplomats effectively to threaten sanctions against any nation seen as reluctant to accept and facilitate the return of its citizens that the U.S. deports.
I did not know, though, on the Gulf of America, by the way. Um, Stephen Colbert floated it back in 2010 as a joke when he was still doing the Colbert Report. And yeah, there's a little satire. He came back to it in 2012 again, too, when he was interviewing some Mississippi lawmaker. And so, yeah, from a Stephen Colbert joke, maybe
Wait, what did he float?
naming it the Gulf of America.
Oh,
It was a Stephen
yeah.
Colbert idea. It was a Colbert Report idea.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, but um, yeah, Gulf of America, man. But yeah, that's one of the
I heard
distracting
that
things.
the stuff with like Panama and Greenland, like Panama and Greenland both have so Panama isn't like really worth anything monetarily. It's like a $5 billion business, and we lease it anyway. So like, it doesn't do us any good to own the land, but it does have strategic significance. Um, and so does Greenland. And the person who those both have strategic significance to is Putin.
Yeah, true. Yeah. In China. I mean, dude. But yeah.
Let's see what else.
Good. Environment. The environment. I mean, with all the Nazi salutes and all the other horrible shit, the one thing that people always, the thing that's always in the back of everybody's mind, way in the back of everybody's mind, the thing that will doom humans to, die off. The planet will be fine. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson's always said, the planet will go on just fine. People may not. People will die, but the planet will recover from people. There's been other things before. People are a blip, but wow, the assault on the environment, man, it was like an ex-wife of Pete Hegseth, man. That's how bad the environment got it. How Pete Hegseth is, grabbing his ex-wife by her crotch and being violent and everything else. Well, environment got a piece of that action. Open up all Anwar, take away indigenous people's land up there in the Arctic. Open every single thing that was denied for oil drilling in Anwar or Alaska and everything else. Everything has been revoked. Drill, drill, drill everywhere.
I mean,
Complete
and this
assault and
like
everything. Yeah.
and like this drilling is comes at a time when the United States is producing more oil than any other country in the history of the world.
Yep. Well, we
Like,
had to get
we're
more.
already drilling the
Yep.
most ever.
Removed reversed by executive order all the mandates on electric vehicles. Took us out of the Paris Climate Accord again. Every everything he could revoke that helped the environment by executive order was basically just now undone. Uh,
We also
God,
declared a national energy emergency
yes,
so that they can, you know, uh, they can use eminent domain and the Defense Production Act to commandeer private land and resources.
yeah. But we blocked all the new wind energy because he still thinks windmill causes cancer,
Oh yeah,
and
that
he
was like
says
on
they're
the
ugly.
northern shelf or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yes, and according to MIT, by the way, just in case anybody's thinking about this, just in case, because the best lies have something that rings true, right? People will think that, well, I could see that. Trump says that these windmills they're spinning around kill birds, and yes, it's true. A bird can fly into one of those big things there and die, just like your window. In fact, your window, or actually, house cats and fossil fuels kill more birds. House cats that get outside, they kill more birds. All of the wind turbines combined.
I mean,
So just let you know.
there's plenty of birds, but you know what else kills
Yeah,
birds? On the topic of fun things that kill birds,
Windows.
I
We
don't
should
think
ban
windows are.
Windows
I
to
don't think
save the
windows are
birds.
killing birds. I feel like that's a
It does happen.
cartoon.
You can ask Matt Kish. Ask our friend Matt. Flew into his window. He had to
Dude,
go
you
out
gotta
there and do it
quit.
in the middle of work.
You gotta quit. You gotta remember this is the internet and stop using full names
Oh, okay, it's a friend of mine.
and
I got a friend who a
and
bird flew into his
specific
window.
towns.
No, I didn't say the town he lives in, but whatever, man.
Yeah, but yeah, don't say what town you live in
Just
either.
some random guy I work with, man, and a bird flew into his window. Don't go looking him up on the internet, folks. Sorry,
No,
Matt.
but okay, those if you're ever driven from LA to Vegas, like you might if you were
Hmm.
escaping the wildfires for a weekend of frivolity, let's say. Um, there's like a it's like a mirror power plant, and so it uses a massive array of mirrors to redirect the sun's light, kind of like a magnifying glass on like an ant if you're a horrible person. and it all points at this central tower, and they pump water up into that, and then it turns into steam and produces pressure. But like all of the air, like around from the mirrors beaming the sun's rays at the tower, like the air around it becomes superheated, and if the birds fly into it, they just explode into, they just like burst into flames and just are immediately burned to a crisp.
Well, one of the other executive orders he signed, and it sounds stupid and ridiculous on its face. He signed an executive order that reverses the decision that climate change is dangerous. Climate change is no longer dangerous. Okay?
What a relief.
Because if climate change is now not dangerous, right? That would go. There's a 2007 Supreme Court ruling that said the EPA has authority to regulate any planet-warming gases if they determine that they pose a threat to public health, if it's dangerous. And they did that. They said greenhouse gases endanger both the public health and public welfare of the current and future generation. So, by executive order, if you say it's not dangerous, now the EPA has no authority to regulate anything because it's not dangerous. So
Well,
now
they don't have
EPA.
the authority to regulate anything anyway because of the, God, what was the, this
Well,
was
they
from
had
like
the
a
authority
year
to
ago.
regulate it. The Supreme
No,
Court
no.
ruled that they didn't have the authority to. They could regulate something that's already like laid out to them. They couldn't impose any other like guidelines or any other restrictions on things.
Like the
You know,
basic, I can't remember
it's a nail
the
in the
name of
coffin.
this decision,
I know
but
what you're
the,
talking about, but it's a nail in the coffin. This is a
yeah, but like the basics of it was that um,
yeah.
interpretation of the law was given over to the
Chevron,
federal
Chevron,
agencies. Chevron
Chevron doctrine.
doctrine.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And what that meant was that, like, you know, Congress would pass a law that would say, you know, like the roads have to be safe as determined by the Department of Transportation. Then the Department of Transportation hires like a civil engineer, and that guy says, you know, you have to use these materials when you build an off ramp so semi trucks don't just break it and fall off. Um, or you have to have this much of a, you know, this much, it has to be this long so you have time to slow down, or it has to be this much of a curve gradient or whatever. Um, and so like those guys would be able to decide that. And with this decision, losing the Chevron doctrine, uh, now the judges in those cases where the government sues some company for not following the law, the the judges get to interpret and determine what is what is meant by, you know, safe roads or any other like number of statutes on anything, AI, crypto, you know, like all of the things that old people don't know anything about because they're new, and you have to be like an expert in that domain. But yeah, that was a while ago. So I mean,
They
they
were
were
working on it,
toothless.
but
They
basically
were
they were saying if
toothless
there's
for a
any
while.
ambiguity, they were saying but things like Chevron took a it beat it up. It beat up these agencies, right? It didn't kill them off. It says that hey, they can't come up with something that says hey, uh, if there's ambiguity in the law. Where Robert said he said Congress expects courts to handle technical or statutory questions in course of or excuse me. Let me
Yeah,
go
but
back
dude,
here.
50 years of laws were written with the assumption that the agencies would
Yeah,
be.
yeah, they're saying that to make clear that the agencies should interpret statutes like agency interpretations of the constitutions. Um, it said it still remains the responsibility of the court to decide whether the law means what the agency says. Now, of course, with the EPA, it's already been decided. Yes, greenhouse gases, public threat, they're allowed to do that. They have certain steps they're allowed to do. You know what I mean? There's no ambiguity there, right? Under current, like even with Chevron, even with the Chevron decision, EPA could still do these things to these companies. With Trump's executive order, if they just say climate change is not dangerous now the EPA no longer has the authority to regulate any of this stuff for the the greenhouse gases because it's no longer dangerous. If it's not dangerous, they only have the authority to regulate it if it's opposed a threat to public health. If you say it's not you don't there's no threat to public health, now they don't have the authority to regulate it. So
Let me see.
yeah. Anyway,
Great.
there's a lot more. I mean, God, there's so much more. They They opened up a whole bunch of drilling. There's so many things they did on the environment. It
They
was
rolled back binary limits on or regulations on fossil fuel extraction on federal lands. They restored the first Trump administration rules on hunting and trapping in national preserves,
you can.
and ordered the Interior Department to align federal rules on hunting and fishing in Alaska with rules for state government lands.
Yeah.
They denied a pending U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service request to create an indigenous sacred site within the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge.
Yeah.
Fuck the fish. That's how we're going to make America healthy again. Oh, and we are re-engaging a legal and regulatory battle with California state government over water routes from Sacramento, San Joaquin Delta, because they want to override fish and wildlife protection efforts to route more of the water to the Central Valley in Southern California. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything, everywhere, all at once could
Yeah.
also be the title of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh yeah. Now, if you want to look, I'm gonna do something real fast. Okay. I'm gonna see if you want to look up the Constitution. Right. If you want to look up if you want to compare the text of the Constitution with it's only on the Obama White House Archives.gov. Anyway, if
This
you're
is
wanting to look up
Internet
the
Archive.
Constitution, if you're wanting to look up the Constitution, the new Trump administration removed the Constitution from their website. When you click on the link to look at the Constitution, you get a 404 error.
And also reproductiverights.gov.
Yep, it's still there, by the way. whitehouse.gov/about-the-white-house/r-government/the-constitution. That's the website, the government website, the White House government website for the Constitution. It's a 404 page not found. They took that down and when you click, oh God, oh Jesus, oh my God, why did I click on this
Yeah,
button?
the White House page for diversity, the White House page for the Spanish
Oh my
version.
God! If you go to
Also
whitehouse.gov, it's just a big fucking infomercial for Trump. Just go to whitehouse.gov.
Does it have links to buy the meme coin and
Not
the
yet. You have to.
$100,000 Trump branded watches?
No, first you have to watch a whole big promotional video about Donald Trump. It's a video. Just go to whitehouse.gov. It's a fucking video all about Donald Trump. It's just, oh my God. Ugh. Making gag. That'll keep people from going to the whitehouse.gov website. Anyway.
Great.
Anyway, yeah, the Constitution is removed.
But there's this whole thing with the Trump meme coin,
Oh,
and it's
God.
shooting up in value. It's just the easiest way to just directly give him money.
Yeah.
Because they also they minted out a whole bunch of the coins originally for the Trump family. So they all just have a massive
they all have
share.
It. Melania has one too, though. Melania has one too, and there's 4 of them now. There's 4 Trump coins, and Melania owns one. He owns one.
I'm gonna buy some Trump coins.
He owns 70% of it.
I don't want to get left behind when it blows up. If you're gonna bribe the president, I at least want to ride along.
Yeah, I'm so pissed though, man. I did crypto, man. I was mining crypto back when crypto was awesome, and I was a fan of crypto. I understood, of course, that dude, they really do need to regulate this shit because it is. I understand the principle behind it. I kind of like it a little bit, but I understood it's a criminal's dream come true for money laundering and things like. That's why all the ransomware things always want you to pay in Bitcoin and it always goes back to Russia.
Wait. On the topic of criminal's dream come true, that reminds me. So one of the pardons was for the guy who was the founder of Silk Road.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah, life in prison for drug trafficking and guns and all kinds of illegal shit on the Silk Road website. He's doing life in prison. He got out. Yeah, he pardoned him. I don't know if he pardoned him or commuted a sentence. Whatever, doesn't matter. He's out of prison now.
Yeah, how does that? Why that guy? That one seems so random. But yeah, sorry. Go back to whatever you're.
Follow the money. Follow the money. I'm sure it goes back to crypto. Remember, he still has tens of millions of dollars in Bitcoin. The Silk Road guy does. He's still got plenty of money waiting for him. I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, it's legal for Trump to. Trump could have sold all these pardons. The Silk Road guy could have said, "Hey, dude, I'll give you $20 million. Give me a pardon." And he said, "Hell yeah!" And know what he could have done with that pardon? He could have bought up $20 million of Trump coins to make the price spike from $6 to $75 like it did, like within 24 or 48 hours. Somebody
Yep.
was pumping it. Somebody pumped it.
Yep.
And but it's legal now. The Supreme Court said that's legal. You can sell a pardon. You can do whatever you want. You can profit off the presidency as long as you have an official act associated with the crime. You can't even bring in the evidence of the crime because it's an official act. You can't touch it. So yeah, he could have sold the pardon for $40 million to him. Who knows? The Supreme Court said it's legal for him to do that.
What do you think's going to happen with that law to have the U.S. government have a Bitcoin reserve of some huge amount to like
Oh,
spike
he's
the
already
price
signed
of
an
it?
executive. I think that's one of his executive orders saying that the government can't do that. He already made an executive order saying the government cannot do that because you don't want to compete. You don't want to have a.
No, but I mean that was a Republican thing.
Yeah, but no, he signed an executive order against that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
You don't want something real and something for the government to be able to regulate, and because if you have the government doing that, you're going to have some regulations around crypto, right, to make it official. If you want to have it just be a free for all Wild West for money laundering and criminality, then you're going to do what Trump did. And I'm so pissed at Coinbase and everybody else. Oh yeah, before the election, I was so fucking pissed at Coinbase because I still have some crypto in Coinbase, and I logged in there and I was looking at that stuff, and man, their stupid little recommendations to support Donald Trump. Donald Trump is for all this and blah 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 blah. And all of the crypto exchanges all gave millions of dollars to Trump, and the Trump inaugural fund and all this stuff, which is Trump's pocket, people. Let's not kid ourselves. And yeah, they all gave millions of dollars to Trump. All of them, Kraken and Coinbase and uh, all of them. They all gave millions and millions of
I
dollars.
mean, it's disappointing, but not surprising.
I mean,
I mean, they are.
criminals.
I mean, that's just directly to the benefit of their businesses.
Yeah, and now Trump and the Trump coin is listed on Coinbase. Remember, Coinbase used to try to pretend that they wouldn't let every little flash in the pants meme coin be listed, and I can tell you, man, the shit coins on Coinbase are endless now. It used to be a lot. They used to be a lot more selective, but yeah, Trump coins now on Coinbase. You can buy the Trump coins and the TrumpMemeCoin.com coin. That's another coin. And what was one of the other ones? There's like a whole handful of these MAGA coin. They're all being listed. Yeah, they're all being listed on Coinbase now. They're all flying up in value, being the pump and dump schemes. It's crazy. Yeah, so disappointed.
Wow.
MAGAMemeCoin.com. That's the MAGA coin. There's the Trump official Trump coin. At least it's come back in value all the way down to $33. It's still way up from 6. But people who are buying at 77, fuck you, you're stupid. Only 20% of the supply is even circulating. There's only 200 million coins. 80% of it is held by Donald Trump.
80%.
Yes, 80% is held by Donald Trump. So all the people, they pumped it and it flew from $6 at release up to like $77. 80% of it's held by Trump, man. You just let the price fly up there, then he's going to dump it and screw everybody. Oh, but yeah, within 48 hours, after 48 hours of the launch of it, the Trump meme coin accounted for, I think it said 81 or 87% of Donald Trump's wealth.
81% of his wealth?
Well, yeah,
I
he
thought
had a
most of it was
meme.
in the media company
Well,
for.
yeah, when you have hundreds of millions of coins and each coin has a value of $77, within 48 hours, he was freaking loaded from nothing, from a meme coin that they just came up with. Not even his own meme coin. It's a Solana. It's an offshoot of Solana. It's a Solana. It's not even real. You can't use it anywhere. It's a total meme coin. I mean, there's some meme coins out there like Doge, And there's other coins, Litecoin, Bitcoin, blah blah blah. There's a bunch of things that you can actually use, like Litecoin. It's not a meme coin, but it was an altcoin, right? This is straight up a meme coin. You can't use it anywhere. There's nothing anywhere in existence that you could buy with the Trump coin. I don't even think he accepts it on his website for his stuff. I don't think you could buy Trump shoes or Trump anything with a Trump coin. So,
Well, you can buy a presidential pardon.
you can buy a president. Yeah, you can.
Buy the president.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, Jesus. So yeah, Trump coins. Melania. I don't know what her coin is called. What's the Melania coin called? Let's see. Oh.
There's a bunch of really just dick moves for the sake of being dick moves. There's this whole section on
Yeah,
the death
Melania.
penalty.
$sign Trump. Oh yeah, the death penalty. Yeah, they brought back the federal, death penalty. They made an executive order to say you need to do whatever you need to procure lethal drugs.
Take all necessary and lawful action to supply states with adequate drugs to carry out lethal injection. Direct the Attorney General to explore whether 37 federal prisoners who had death sentences commuted to life imprisonment by Joe Biden can be charged and tried with capital crimes in state courts. That's just so dirty. Direct the Attorney General to seek reversals of U.S. Supreme Court precedents that limit application of the death penalty in state and federal jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Encourage state attorneys general and district attorneys to pursue the death penalty in all possible cases. It's just mustache twirling at that point. That's the one where we're not going to give the fish the sacred grounds in the wildlife refuge. It's just being an asshole. Be an asshole.
Yeah.
It's very disheartening. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be. It should be well, at least we're not all required to wear swastikas and have our little red books yet, but
wow,
it's kind of going that way. I can't remember if TikTok had already had their stay of execution the last time we were here.
I mean, TikTok. Well, again, TikTok doesn't matter, man. TikTok was a stupid thing. First of all, don't anybody forget who was the first politician out there calling for TikTok to be banned? Trump was.
Yeah, but I actually agree with the TikTok ban.
I mean, I kind of do too. Who cares? I mean, honestly, I don't even care. But it's not going to happen because ByteDance CEO gave a bunch of money to Trump, and immediately after they had a meeting at Mar-a-Lago and gave money, he reversed his stance.
And he was only able to stop it for 45 days.
He stopped it for 75 days in his executive order. Although the law already said they can stop it for up to 90 days, provided ByteDance does X, Y, and Z, and they haven't done any of it. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because law and order does not apply to Donald Trump. He doesn't care what the law says. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. And it's just, and who's going to stop him?
Okay, so what do you think is coming next?
Reichstag fire. Took Hitler 58 days. We're at what day? 3? 55 more days to go. Let's see if Trump's team can do in 55 more days what Hitler did in Germany in 58 days. That's where I think we're going.
Oh boy.
I don't know. We'll see really soon. We'll see soon enough if my prediction plays out. I'm not one of those Seventh-day Adventists who say the world is going to end on X day 7 years from now or something. I mean, let's just see.
I just feel like he can't have that much gas left in the tank.
He doesn't have any gas in it. He's well, no.
How much longer is he going to stay alive?
From everybody who was in courtroom with him, he has plenty of gas in his tank. Remember, he's falling asleep, farting everywhere. But Doesn't matter. He doesn't give a shit. Dude, look here. He didn't write any of these executive orders. He didn't write any of that shit. He scribbled his name in the big block, like jaggedy letters. That's all he does. He doesn't do shit. He cheats at golf. He doesn't even golf. He cheats. He has his people throw the ball. He doesn't do
Seriously.
shit. His people do. He's psycho people. He's just there to be. He's there to get rich and to be treated like a god. And if anybody talks shit about him, then he wants to do whatever he can to make their life hell. That's it. That's his job. In his mind, that's all he does. He doesn't give a shit about the job. He doesn't give a shit about the country. He's there for himself. And he has some psycho people with him who, some of them are real zealots, man. They really are there for the job. They really do believe in all this shit. And they're psycho Stephen Miller types, You got your white nationalists. You got your over-the-top fanatics. You got your rich oligarch, fucking billionaire people who just want to make as much money and screw everybody else. You have your little coalition of people with their interests, and they will work hard to get their interests done. Trump doesn't give a shit. He just wants power, money, and accolades. If he doesn't
So
get
at this,
accolades, he wants to be the ultra villain and just get revenge.
so at this point, do you think any of his cabinet nominees are gonna not make it?
Do I think they are going to not make it?
Yeah, like do you think anybody will not be confirmed?
I think Tulsi won't make it. I think Tulsi Gabbard won't make it, and I think I'm pretty sure RFK won't make it.
I think they're all gonna make it.
You think all of them are going to make it?
I think
I
he's
don't know.
gonna. I think he's gonna get 100%.
Wow. Well, here's the thing.
I think that letting
I'm talking about
the
confirmation.
Senate confirm them.
I'm talking about Senate confirmation. I don't think those two would pass Senate confirmation. Now, whether or not they end up in the job is a different question.
I think that him letting them do Senate confirmation was like a deal, so they could still look like they're important. But they're like, "Don't worry, we'll do it.
I think
We'll get them
Hegseth's
in."
going to get in with a 51-50 vote with J.D. Vance being the tiebreaker vote.
You think who's gonna flip on?
We got two people already flipped, and there's a third one who said, even though he voted to advance him to the floor, because they did a vote to advance him, and that passed with only Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins were the only two Republicans to say no, not even to advance it to to official vote or whatever like that. There's another Republican guy who said he wants more of an investigation on some of these other things. Can't remember his name, but I don't remember. What was the name? I closed it a while back. I was reading earlier, but
So a couple people.
there's a couple people who are definite no's. There's two definite no's on the Republicans, which was
Man,
51-49, and that's
I
how
don't
he.
think
And
I don't
there's
think
one
anyone's
no.
a definite no until they actually vote no.
Well, they did. They did vote no. They voted that he should not even be moved forward in the process to be allowed to be considered for Senate, and they've already said
Yeah, but
absolutely not. They've already said no.
that's like a symbolic.
No, that's not
That's a token vote. That's not the real vote.
true. But it'd be really stupid to say he is unqualified and he should not be in this position, and I do not support him. I am not voting for him to even be considered for this because he is not qualified for the job at all. And then turn around and vote for him. That doesn't. You're not
That
going to.
sounds like exactly what I would expect from a Republican.
No, I would expect the Republicans to do well.
Like I saw a guy. It was like Jim Acosta. He was talking to some senator. Maybe it was a congressman. I can't remember. I think it was like Tom Cotton or something. I can't remember what the guy's name was. I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm just guessing, throwing out names. But he was talking to him about the pardons, and he's like some of these guys like we're tasing police officers. We're like we're the guys who were convicted of like having the logistical plans put in place to like move in ammunition from this one location into here so that there was plenty of ammo for the people taking over. Like, people convicted of like uh, violent sedition, uh, and plotting sedition, and like, all like the serious stuff. And like this guy couldn't even just say like, yeah, I don't agree with all of the pardons. I think like the violent ones shouldn't have been pardoned. Like he couldn't even say that. Like, 'cause the amount of like, I must agree with the leader is like not even that much dissent is allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he was like, it was kind of hilarious because he kept like asking the question. He's like, "Well, what about this? What about this? Did Biden do this? What did you guys cover when Biden didn't do blah blah blah? What about the Antifa? What about the Black Lives Matter? Aren't those guys in jail? Like, did you talk about that?" And I'm sitting here and I'm like, he should ask him like, are you interviewing me or am I interviewing you? Because it was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, I felt a little nervous. I felt uh like excitement because I knew we had so much to talk about. But like going through all these things, even just like, list and touching on them lightly,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel so much more demoralized than like I only knew like 10% of it before I really like dug into the full list. And like I know that this list isn't
This
even
is not
everything
even. This is not everything. This is.
because I knew there were other things that weren't on this list that I knew about. So like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's just so bad.
Yeah. It's so much.
So like, I mean, I guess on the bright side, the Fraternal Order of Police rescinded their endorsement of Donald Trump. So
Who gives a shit, man?
they finally
Seriously, man.
they finally made it to the right side, just a little late.
Relate. God. Jesus. Ah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so like the
By the way,
Maha thing doesn't seem like it's going to be a thing. It seems total like it's already all bullshit.
which one? What did you say? Sorry.
The Maha, the Make America Healthy Again.
Sorry. I mean, roadkill guy. Did anybody? I mean, come on, man. That was never. That, if you're eating roadkill and
Oh.
and
What was
putting
the one where
plastic
the thing was?
bags on your children's heads, you
Yeah, what
know,
was that? What was that one? What was the one where it was
that
strapped
was
to this to the
that's when
roof?
he cut the whale's head off.
Yeah.
They found out they were going to go on vacation or whatever. They found out there was a beached whale in the area. He had to cancel what they were doing. Took the whole family beeline. Holy shit! Moby Dick's on land. And he went home, got his fucking chainsaw.
Like, why
Kids,
didn't he leave?
kids
He
and
must
family
have.
still in tow. Ran home, left the carpeting, ran to the garage, get a chainsaw, back in there. We're going to the beach, kids. Flew to the beach to use a chainsaw and cut the head off of a whale. Imagine the spray and blood. Oh my god. Cut the head off a whale on the beach. Bring it over to lug this thing over to your car. Put the severed whale head with blood, as they were calling whale juice, pouring down everywhere.
I
Strap
remember
it down
like the
with
first
bungee
time I
cord.
like I heard all the stories about
Strap
RFK.
it
Like
down
I
with
was just
bungee
dying
cords.
laughing.
Strap it down with bungee cords, and of course you got to crack your windows for the bungee cords to hold this severed
Of course.
whale head on the top of your car. And then you start to drive it home, right? And where all the blood from the whale head, all the whale juice was flying into the car, hitting those children in the face. So he put plastic bags on their heads so that they wouldn't get sprayed with all, with all the whale juice. And this was before the election. Everybody heard him tell the story. He
This
was
and then he told the
he told
brainworm story.
brain worms. Yes, he thinks he has a brain worm. He thinks that's why he talks the way he does now. He thinks he got a brain worm from all the roadkill he likes to eat. Because, like Julian, man, my son Julian, God, he begs for SpaghettiOs all freaking day. And RFK likes roadkill like Julian likes SpaghettiOs. never saw. I mean, I've never heard road bear. Ooh, road bear. Yeah, let's get it.
It's like a rare delicacy.
Anybody who's scraping roadkill off the ground to eat it has some issues, man. They is not the person you want to make America healthy.
Is it a rare barricacy?
God.
Oh man.
Anyway, God, there's
okay. Well, so we've
survived.
We've made it through 3 days, and we're still alive.
3 days,
free, and making a podcast that I don't know if anyone has seen.
I don't know if I've seen it because we're still only doing audio. At some point, we're going to start recording video.
Heard, I guess, is the correct way to say this.
Although I didn't do my hair, I'm kind of glad we're only on audio. We'll probably be on video soon, but for right now, it's still nice to not have to worry about how I look.
I'll wait for that. I'll wait till we get the subs for the face reveal. Do a subathon at the midterms.
Yeah.
Yeah, big plans. We'll get there. We'll get to putting in video clips, cutting up it into shorts, putting it on the socials, little clips, and I'm gonna try again to get us onto Apple Podcasts for all the iPhone users out there that don't have Spotify.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
any closing thoughts?
We're all fucked. That's it. We're all fucked, everybody. We're fucked.
Oh, we're so fucked. We're so fucked.
We didn't even talk about all the immigration stuff, really. We talked about some of the border stuff, but not all the other. There's just so much bad. Whatever. It's so much bad. And the only thing I can say is good. One thing I can say. Here's closing thoughts. 24 hours before he was inaugurated, I got a call from the ACLU, and I went ahead and re-upped my membership and went ahead and gave $100 and got my little card in the mail. So I definitely urge everybody to donate to ACLU. Any other groups that are really going to be having to work overtime to stop the worst of what's happening for the next 4 years.
That's true. This is the way that you can help. If you want to do something, there is the ACLU, there is Planned Parenthood, and next week we should have more. We should have more links. That's what we should do. We should start coming up with some ways to help.
Let me say rest in peace to Cecile Richards. Awesome woman. Gone. Brain cancer.
I don't know who that is.
Ann Richards' daughter, Cecile Richards, who ran Planned Parenthood for a long, long time.
Oh.
You've seen her. Blonde hair, if you Google her, you'll see a picture of her. Yeah. Yep. And
okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Right-wing activists celebrating the death of her.
Oh, Trump put on inauguration day, he raised the flags back to full staff. By the way,
of course he did, because he's a
can't put the flags, can't fly the flags at half staff for 30 days to honor a former president who didn't like you. So,
wow,
the pettiness knows no bounds. Yeah. All right. Make sure to meditate, sleep, hydrate. It's going to be a marathon, folks.
Yeah, that's it. And if you're in a state where marijuana is legal at night, kids are in bed, probably not a bad idea to unwind a little bit at night, because you can't get too riled up every single day. You need a little, whatever your outlet is, stay happy. Try.
All right, that's it, folks.
Yep. All right, good night.